Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us for our community briefing. Happy to be joined by our Chief of Police, Cecile, our Deputy Mayor, Sharon Owens, and our Director of Housing and Neighborhood Planning, Cimone. You'll be hearing from all of them shortly. So just to do a quick run through of the agenda, we'll touch on overall health forecast right now as we're into the fall season. Go over COMPSTAT numbers as we always do and dig in a little bit deeper on larcenies. We're going to talk about our Proud Places initiative launch, give an update on sidewalks, talk about senior tax exemptions, Syracuse surge, a fun police athletic and activities league Veterans Day drawing contest, and then we'll open it up for questions. So first, we'll talk about health. So for those of you that have been around for a little while, these briefings originated around focusing on COVID during the beginning and height of the pandemic. We think that there's value in continuing to update the community on health-related issues. This is the season where we are seeing COVID transmissions going up, and unfortunately that converges with the onset of the flu season as well as RSV. So the good news is for all three of those, there are vaccines available, and we want to encourage people to take them. So for RSV, the vaccine is available for those adults over 60, for pregnant women, and for infants. So we'd encourage all folks that are at a high risk for RSV to get the vaccine. As far as COVID and flu goes, again, numbers are going up. We have updated vaccines for both, and we encourage people to get it now. I think the last time when we updated everyone in August, the message from the health department was not quite yet. The message from the health department, and again, we check in with Commissioner Anderson regularly. The message is now's the time to get your vaccine, so we encourage you to do that. If you have any questions, you can always go on the Onondaga County Health Department's website, or you can call them at 315-435-2000. All right, let's jump over to crime now. So as a reminder, we always go over our COMPSTAT report, which is available, updated weekly on the city's website. So you can just go to the city webpage, syr.gov, punch in COMPSTAT in the search tool, and you'll get the weekly updates. They're updated usually every Tuesday. So this is our report through October 9th. A few things jump out which are consistent with the trends we've been seeing for most of the year now. Good news is violent crime is down and continues to go down. So we're at nearly 10% down overall year over year in violent crime. And we're certainly happy about that. Compared to the 5-year average, it's about even 1% over. But again, important positive trend line that we're going to work really hard to continue. Again, I want to credit police department, our community partners, everyone that's out there every day, interrupting violence, holding those that are involved in violence accountable, and keeping the city safe. Unfortunately, we are seeing a continuing of a different kind of trend line relative to property crime, and that is going up. It's really driven by two areas. Stolen vehicles, which is a story not just here in Syracuse, really across New York State and across the country. Been a significant challenge, one in which we're working really hard on. Chief Cecile and I were involved in a meeting with Governor Hochul, other local representatives, and in law enforcement. This is very much on the governor's radar. She's identified specific resources to assist municipalities with stolen vehicles, and we are working hard to avail ourselves of those resources. So stolen vehicles is a real problem, as is larcenies, many of which are related to shoplifting. You're going to hear Chief Cecile talk specifically about those. Those are up. Again, larcenies 23% year over year, 16% compared to the 5-year average. And all of that is driving the overall property crime number up, again, 15% year over year above where we were last year, and 20% above the 5-year average. So violent crime down, property crime up, working very hard on both fronts. And again, Chief Cecile is now going to get into a little bit more detail about larcenies. I'll just say, as he joins me up here, in every case where I've gone to Chief Cecile, looking at the data and saying, this is an area where we need to do more, we need to do something different, Chief and his team at SPD have stepped up and not only are doing more, oftentimes are doing things that not many other municipalities are, and where we will we'll quickly hear from other municipalities when they see what we're doing and want to learn from us. So I think that we have a really good model for how we're addressing these larcenies and shoplifting. And again, I want to turn it over to the chief to talk a little bit more about it.
Good afternoon, everybody. So cities across the country and counties too are experiencing spikes in shoplifting. Syracuse is no exception. We've seen a 55% spike from 2021 of shoplifting. That number is very likely higher because many businesses and many of these crimes go unreported. But business owners continue to express their concerns. They're having trouble sustaining themselves at times, given the high cost of shoplifting. One manager of a large chain drugstore met with us a couple months ago because his loss is closing in on a critical mass number where the store, that location typically closes. That number, by the way, exceeds $250,000 a year. So with everything else we're dealing with in the city, including gun crime, this might not seem like a big problem, but it is. Most of these businesses reside right in the middle of neighborhoods, and those that live in those neighborhoods rely on those businesses. So the mayor asked us early on to develop a workable plan to address this problem. As he mentioned, we looked around and didn't find any examples we could use, so we created our own. And we did. Working with business owners and the Crime Analysis Center, we narrowed down the days and times that the most frequent shoplifting is occurring at the high-level stores, and then also identified the top 20 subjects that are involved in repeated and frequent shoplifting. So we could focus on both those parameters and narrow it down. Then we made territory officers available on those specific days and times so they could swiftly respond when those individuals came into those stores to shoplift again, so that they could make an arrest. The next component of this was working with DA Fitzpatrick, who understood the magnitude of these crimes and what it's going to do to these businesses and the people that rely on those businesses. He assigned one of his assistant DAs to work with us on this program so that those folks, when arrested, get special attention. We're working off parameters of 4 shoplifting larcenies within a 6-month period, but I can tell you that we have folks that have hit 10, and I believe we have one that hit 14 incidents. So it's even higher than that. As with all of our initiatives, the word compassion is always there. It's always one of the things we think about before we do this. We understand some of these folks may have issues like drug and alcohol addiction or mental health, which may be a factor driving them to do these crimes time and time again. So the subjects, once arrested, are screened and assessed by the district attorney's office and directed to the most appropriate diversionary court. Care court, Syracuse Community Treatment Court, recovery court, what have you. There's, I think, 8 or 9 diversionary courts in the city of Syracuse so that folks can go to those courts to get assistance. As usual, our goal is to stop the shoplifting from occurring and if helping the subjects acquire the services that dissuade them from committing the further acts, then that's a big win for everyone at the table. One such subject has been sentenced to 2 years for multiple counts of shoplifting, arrested 14 times since June of this year, sent to court, did not take the services, and has in fact been sentenced to 2 years for those crimes done time and time again. Another subject has shoplifted from the same store 7 times since September of this year. Was arrested October 3rd, released, went back to the store the very same day, and shoplifted again. Which brings me to my final point. I know all of our city court judges all have their hearts in the right places. I'm convinced of that. But many times the best pathway for folks that continue to commit crimes, especially if their actions are driven by addiction or mental health issues, is to get them treatment. And many times the best way to do that is to get them into one of these diversionary courts where they can be assessed and offer services to help them overcome whatever is driving this behavior. It's better for them, it's better for the business, and it's better for all the residents who rely on those businesses because you can't have them start closing in those neighborhoods and leave residents with nowhere to go for their goods and supplies. So thank you.
Great. Thank you, Chief. I kept identifying points that I wanted to emphasize that the Chief shared, and then he went ahead and emphasized the perfect point. So thank you, Chief, for that. I'm going to do it anyways. I think striking the right balance between holding people accountable, but being compassionate and understanding what's driving their behavior is critically important, and I think SPD is doing that exceptionally well. We've all seen the viral videos of places around the country where shoplifters are going in and walking out with mass amounts of goods. That's unacceptable, and we're not going to tolerate that here in the city. and as evidenced by the numbers that the chief shared, we are not tolerating it. But we do understand that oftentimes people are motivated by other factors, again, whether it's addiction, whether it's poverty. Those are real issues, and we always want to help people first. And we have this programs and the systems in place where we can help people. So again, really proud of the work that we're doing, again, to cut down on the crime, because again, something that the chief mentioned, when people are doing what some might view as a relatively harmless act, it's hurting the business, which ultimately is hurting those that the business is serving. And so it is critically important that we address it, and we are. So thank you, Chief. Great work on that, as usual. You know, when we talk about the issues that are facing our neighborhoods, we often first look to the police, sometimes appropriately, sometimes unfairly, but law enforcement isn't the only way in which we are working to support our neighborhoods and to improve our neighborhoods. We undertake a lot of different efforts through a lot of different neighborhoods and departments, everything from infrastructure investment to economic development to beautification. To talk more about some of the other ways in which we are supporting our neighborhoods and assisting people that are struggling with some of the issues that we talked about, I'd like to bring Deputy Mayor Owens up to talk about a number of issues that we're working on, and then we'll highlight one of our newer ones. Deputy Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. As the Mayor stated, while our police department are doing amazing things and keeping our neighborhood safe and responding to the concerns of any of our neighbors around quality of life and crime in our neighbors, we do not leave them to address this issue alone. Every department of the city of Syracuse takes creating safe neighborhoods very seriously in our city. There are multiple efforts that we are engaged in partnership with the police and in addition to the work that they're doing. One of them that I'll highlight is COMPSTAT, crime prevention through environmental design. We use data from police calls and crime-related data to identify issues and areas, particularly spaces where we find there to be some issues. But then we also use information through our code enforcement department, through our Department of Neighborhood and Business Development, to identify in those particular areas, are there troubled spaces, are there troubled houses, are there vacancies, are there issues around the occupants in particular houses that are causing issues around keeping neighborhoods safe and improving everyone's quality of life. And so through COMPSTAT, this group of an army of city staff from police, fire, code enforcement, DPW, neighborhood and business development, the mayor's office, meet together on a monthly basis to begin to and also review hotspots, areas by which we look to identify where we need to focus our effort. That includes, and I left out the Parks Department, how can I leave them out? That includes overgrowth. Many times environmental situations create an opportunity for crime. So we go through and clear out areas. We clear brush, we clean up, we pick up, we find encampments, we work proactively with our homeless and housing vulnerable partners to get people into safe housing and out of spaces that were not intended for human habitation. Last month, the mayor and I and the county exec and his deputy county executive met with many of our partners. All of the hospitals were represented and clinical facilities were represented to really address what we all are seeing on the streets of Syracuse around behavioral health struggles, whether that be mental health or whether that be substance abuse. And through that meeting, we were able to connect with one another just to see what is driving some of the challenges that we're finding in our communities. The chief spoke to one area that can assist is really you don't want to use law enforcement or the courts and able to assist someone who is struggling with drug abuse, but that has been an effective method, and there are testimonies of individuals through that process who have been able to get themselves on the right track. But what we really want is for people to be able to get into treatment. Again, in partnership with our not-for-profit agencies and the Syracuse Police Department, we have been taking diversionary response approaches to identifying individuals on the streets, in our parks, and getting them connected with these services. We will continue that important work. And in addition, I met last Monday and Tuesday, I was in New York City with Mayor Adams, who had convened a national discussion on this issue too, to begin to look at national models that we all can approach to address this. As the mayor stated on other situations, Syracuse is not in isolation when it comes to this issue, and we are going to continue to use best practices and work with our partners to address it. Another area that we work very hard to address and ensure that we meet the needs of our neighbors are what we do on a almost monthly during the warmer months of our year, is to work and walk the neighborhoods of the city of Syracuse. We call these power walks. And again, all of those departments that I just mentioned when it came to COMPSTAT join us in a large group of individuals that go out knocking door to door, passing out information to individuals so that they can know that this information, how they can call City Line, how they can get in touch with codes, if there's an illegal setting, if there's a house that is really causing problems in the neighborhood, to make us aware of that. We just had one Tuesday. We were in the neighborhood around Henniker High School, but we have been in many neighborhoods, and many of you may have seen us out there walking around wondering why there were so many of us out. This is how we get on the ground to really see what's going on, to the cut on the curb that may not be conducive to safe pedestrian walks, to huge setups in neighborhoods. And so out of those power walks, one of our amazing staff, Cimone Jordan, created a Proud Places project. And that project, she will come up now to explain exactly what that is going to do in our neighborhood. Now, Cimone is the director of a housing and neighborhood development of neighborhood and business development. You see me, you see the chief, you see the mayor, you see the chief in front of this camera all the time. Who you don't see are so many City of Syracuse employees who are in the background, who are creating programs like this. They are dedicated city residents and city employees, and they are absolutely brilliant. And so you will be introduced to one of those brilliant folks right now. Come on, Joey.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor, for the introduction. So I'm happy to announce that Neighborhood and Business Development will be launching the Proud Places project, which will be a campaign to address neighborhood health and property conditions in the city through civic engagement, beautification, and community stewardship. This campaign will be built out under the Mayor's Resurgent Initiative and alongside the Mayor's Power Walks, and be designed to supplement city investment with a purposeful community engagement initiative that addresses neighborhood needs. The first campaign will start along Butternut Street, which falls within an R&I area and has existing support and excitement from neighborhood residents and stakeholders. Our hope is to offer areas in distress immediate support through policy intervention, beautification efforts, and connection to resources, while creating sustainable ownership and pride in the space from neighborhood residents and organizations. So, city planners over the past few months met with community stakeholders to discuss neighborhood challenges, potential solutions, and plan 2 events. The first event will be a cleanup, very similar to Adopt-A-Block. This will take place on October 14th from 11 to 2 and will be open to the public. Volunteer efforts will include trash collection, window washing, power washing, and gardening with residents and community stakeholders. So far, code enforcement has gone out to visit the area and inspect vacant problem properties. SPD has gone out to do a COMPSTAT analysis mentioned by the Deputy Mayor before. Business development has also gone out to canvass businesses and see where they need to be engaged with around funding opportunities, services, and property rehabs. The second event will take place October 21st from 11 to 2 and will also be open to the public. This event will allow service providers to table and do intake and offer services to the community. Folks that are already engaged include the Onondaga County Health Department, our local financial empowerment center, community ambassadors through our code enforcement program, CNY Fair Housing, the Department of Social Services, and other Northside neighborhood anchor organizations such as Homeprint and NEDA. So the goal is for planners to continue meeting with community community organizations throughout the winter to lead up to a spring cleanup, which will include a mural, beautification efforts, and tree planting within the right-of-way.
Thank you, Cimone. So we're really excited about Proud Places. Many of you have heard us talk about our Resurgent Neighborhoods initiative, although much of that discussion has been focused on our housing strategy, specifically our infill housing work that we're doing, and we continue to make great progress there. But we know that you can't do the housing work in isolation in a vacuum without factoring in the surrounding neighborhood business districts. And again, that was always a critical part of the Resurgent Neighborhoods initiative, to do the neighborhood and the business development simultaneously and in a coordinated way that truly creates strong, vibrant, dynamic neighborhoods. So the Proud Places project is really a great next step, next iteration to R&I to really help us to infuse energy and additional investment in our neighborhood business corridors. You know, when you drive along those corridors, and Butternut is a great example, you see a lot of challenges. And the more you engage with folks along those corridors, the more you realize how complex those challenges are, but also how interrelated they are. And we in city government can't do it alone. If you see a vacant building where there's graffiti and trash and people loitering about, it's not as simple as just calling code enforcement to cite the property or calling SPV to try to move folks along. It really has to be a comprehensive, holistic effort, just like a lot of the other initiatives that we're talking about. And Proud Places is just that. Again, we are focusing on aesthetics and improving the overall appearance and vitality of these districts, but we're digging deeper, and we're bringing our human service agency partners along with us to really engage with the folks along these corridors to understand what their needs are and to make sure that we're meeting them. So Cimone, great job to you and the team. I look forward to seeing you out there on Saturday and many more weeks and months to come. Just a few more things before we open it up to questions. Another way in which we are investing in our neighborhoods, both our housing areas as well as our mixed-use business corridors, is through our municipal sidewalk program. We have made great progress on our sidewalk program this year. So just for some context, last year, which I think was the first full year with the new municipal sidewalk program, we installed about 7 miles of new sidewalk. This year already, just through essentially September and half of October, we're up to 8.5 miles of new sidewalk in the city. And we're not going to stop there. We've got some good weather left. We're going to take full advantage of it. We expect to get at least 12 miles done by the end of this year. But again, it's an opportunity to really show direct investment in our neighborhoods to improve curb appeal, but also to improve accessibility for the many people in our city that don't have access to a private vehicle. We do the sidewalk work in conjunction with other infrastructure-related work, corner ramps, curbing, asphalt removal, driveway adjustments. But again, virtually every direction you drive in the city, you will see the sidewalk work underway, and the feedback that we've gotten from the community has been overwhelmingly positive. So wanted to highlight that and make sure that folks know that we're not done yet. More to come. I mentioned earlier the expanded senior tax exemption. So this is a reminder specifically for if you are a senior and you own a home in the city of Syracuse, this reminder is for you. So in accordance with a change in state law, the Common Council, as a reminder, approved legislation earlier this year that expands eligibility for senior property tax exemptions. And there's still time to apply. So under the expanded eligibility requirements, people 65 years of age and up that are making up to $58,399.99, that's the specific number, anything up to that in income, you can qualify for the break on property taxes. For those that might have previously looked to qualify, the previous maximum income was $37,399.99. So more than $20,000 increase in maximum income expands eligibility significantly. So if you are a senior, 65 years of age or older, you own a home in the city of Syracuse, please make sure that you determine your eligibility, and if you are indeed eligible, You have to submit your application before the end of this calendar year, but we don't want you to wait until then. It's October, you've got time. Please make sure you apply. You can do that in our assessment office. So that's Suite 130 right here in City Hall. You can come by and ask questions. Our staff is ready and willing to help assist you with the application. You can find more information online on our website, which is www.syr.gov/departments/assessment. So you can find more information online. You can't apply online, though. You do have to apply in person. And again, we have staff in assessment waiting to help you do that, and we encourage you to take full advantage. We know our seniors often are times on fixed incomes, and every bit helps, and this is a significant help. So I want to thank Governor Hochul, the state legislature, and the Common Council all for doing their part to make sure our seniors are eligible for this expanded exemption. Last few things, just want to give a regular update, as we always do, on our Syracuse Surge initiatives. A couple specific to our Surge workforce initiatives. We have our ongoing training program that we call Surge Advanced Manufacturing Defense. We've partnered with the SUNY Educational Opportunity Center, SUNY EOC. So that program, again, Surge Advanced Manufacturing Defense Program, is specifically designed to prepare employees for the region's defense and aerospace industries. Companies like Lockheed Martin, and I specifically want to highlight Lockheed because they've been a huge supporter and a partner of this program. We currently have our first cohort underway in this program. It's 16 people that are involved. They're using virtual reality, which is really cool. And they are putting themselves in a position to fill the many open jobs right now we have within our local and regional defense and aerospace industries. We focus a lot on the Micron opportunity, and rightfully so. It's a significant one, but there are many jobs currently available among our high-tech employers, and there's no reason to wait. You can avail yourself of these programs, get the skills you need, and get to work. So wanted to highlight that program. I want to highlight another one. So I mentioned the Advanced Manufacturing Defense Program is underway with our first cohort of 16 people. There will be future cohorts, and we'll keep folks posted on that. But we are currently enrolling on another one of our programs. It's our Surge Advanced Manufacturing and Electromechanical Technician program. Again, that's manufacturing and electromechanical technician. You can sign up for that program. Again, you don't have to wait. All of the details can be found on our partner agency's website, Center State CEO. That's centerstateceo.com/Syracuse Surge Workforce. You can learn about the two programs I mentioned, as well as the other programs that are underway and will be underway in the near future. We want to make sure that we are creating opportunity for existing city residents for the many opportunities that exist today and will exist tomorrow in the new economy. On that note, I also want to highlight the Syracuse Surge Accelerator program. We've talked about that before. As a reminder, this is a program specifically intended to support underrepresented BIPOC entrepreneurs to grow and sustain their startups in Syracuse. So that is a program where we had an application process. We have 5 companies that are now currently enrolled in the program, which was launched in August. It is underway. Really amazing entrepreneurs and emerging businesses, all regionally based, from everywhere from right here in Syracuse out to Rochester. But the 12-month program is currently underway. It includes extensive programming and resource support through Center State CEO's Tech Garden, through Ignition grants, stipends, and other resources that add up to nearly $90,000 worth of value for our participating businesses. That program is funded and supported through JP Morgan Chase and Microsoft, 2 critical partners that we value greatly. Again, the Surge Accelerator program is underway. Keep your eye out for these 5 companies. They are making big moves, and we're excited to support them. Last but certainly not least, Veterans Day is going to be here soon. Saturday, November 11th is Veterans Day, and we are always looking for ways to honor our veterans for the great sacrifices they made for their nation. And we have a really nice way that we're going to do that this year in partnership with the Police Athletic and Activities League, which has just been doing such a great job in engaging young people in our community, something that we talk about a lot and that's so critical to everything else that we've talked about, from ensuring public safety to creating business opportunities to improving our neighborhoods. PAL is a critical partner in that, and they once again have gotten creative and come up with a program that both engages our young people, but again honors those that came long before them and that made great sacrifices for our nation. So the details of the program, again, it's our Veterans Day drawing contest. We are asking young people ages 13 to 18 to submit a drawing. It can be anything related to veterans and their service in the armed forces. So you can get as creative as you want. It's we want to be able to be as inclusive as possible. But again, anybody aged 13 to 18 that wants to draw a picture for this contest can submit it. You can drop it off at the Public Safety Building, which is where Syracuse PAL is located. The address is 511 South State Street. You can drop off entries to the Public Safety Building, and we encourage folks to do that sooner rather than later because the deadline is October 31st, so you got a little bit more time left. There's a prize, $500 we are giving to the winner. You can find more information at Syracuse PAL social media platforms, their Facebook page, as well as Instagram. It's at SYRPAL44. And again, want to encourage our young people to express their creativity, but also to express their appreciation for those that have served in the armed forces in defense and support of our country. I will finally note that the winner will be awarded at a ceremony at the Public Safety Building on Friday, November 10th at 6 p.m. Okay, that covers our formal agenda. I'm happy to answer questions, as are my colleagues here to the right. Any questions?
Quick one for Chief Cecile.
Yep.
On that targeted shoplifting initiative, how long has that been in place?
Relatively short. So we met with we met with the first business owner maybe 2.5 months ago, and then quickly heard from others and put the thing in place. So 2.5 months from beginning to end. The program itself probably hasn't been operating for more than a month. But again, we have a couple of successes already. So it's short.
One of the reasons we wanted to get the word out on it is because we need the businesses to partner with us. We understand why businesses might be wary of pressing charges. Maybe they tried previously and weren't successful. But ultimately, we need the businesses to partner with us. So again, we use data, as we always do, to identify the businesses that were impacted the most by larcenies. But that doesn't mean that we aren't ready and willing to assist other businesses that are experiencing losses through larcenies. We want to work with the businesses. Again, we want to hold people accountable, and we want to get them the help that they need. Anything else? Okay. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day.